Hello, with Team 55. Today we'll present our strategic recommendations for fixed rate solutions, European electronics repair SME currently facing stagnation in a fast changing market. So our presentation will cover several core elements, including a brief recap of the problem framing from case one, the external context shaping fixed rates options, an internal analysis of operational, financial, and customer side pressures, and these insights will set the foundation for the quantified problem impact, solution options, and recommended strategy that will be developed in the rest of the presentation. So fixed rate operates mainly in Germany with a strong sustainability-based brand and a loyal customer base. However, its growth has stalled, margins have compressed, and utilization has dropped, while competitors, especially OEM integrated players and national chains, gain ground. So here, the guiding question for our work is how can fixed rate adapt its business model to restore profitability and achieve scalable, durable growth by 2027. So here the message tree maps the root causes across revenue, costs, operations, and external pressures. Externally, three forces shape fixed rate solution space. First, the market dynamics. The German market grows at 6% CAGR, but fixed rates core B2C segment is matched at 2.3%, while B2B grows at 9.3%. Industry and regulation have also an impact with the EU right to repair directive that expands spare parts access and competition. Furthermore, VAT disparities place Germany at a cost disadvantage relative to neighboring countries. And finally, competitive landscape shape fixed rate solution space with OEM vertical integration accelerating and national chains consolidating market share or all reducing room for independence such as fixed rates. Internally, fixed rate faces structural inefficiencies, so notably through operations with the technician utilization that fell from 92% to 76%, the repair times that increased, and the turnover that doubled, all contributing to reducing throughputs. And finally, financials showcase a lack of efficiency as well, with revenues that plateaued at 6.7 million, margins that fell from 9.5% to 7.5%, and with declining net income and a stable equity base, return on equity pressure increases. And finally, through customer behavior, the B2C demand is slowing, device retention is rising, and 28% of customers now prefer refurbished devices, shrinking fixed rates core market. Together, there's dynamics within fixed rates performance gap and highlight the need for strategic repositioning.
Fixed rates challenges fall into two categories: internal operational performance and external market dynamics. On the internal side, all key operational indicators show a downward trend. Margins are eroding, operational efficiency continues to decline, employee stability is weakening, and revenues have stagnated. Externally, fixed rate faces an equally unfavorable environment. The B2B repair segment has largely plateaued, showing minimal growth compared to the expanding B2B market. This reflects a structural market shift. Growth and value creation are increasingly concentrated in B2B, while fixed rate remains overexposed to the stagnating B2C segment. To illustrate the urgency, we modeled a scenario-based forecast, assuming no strategic intervention. The results are clear. Ongoing reliance on a stagnant B2C market combined with deteriorating operational performance will further erode profitability and competitiveness. Under this trajectory, fixed rate will not be able to reach its 15% ROE target. To design an effective strategic intervention, a structured evaluation was required. We applied an MCDA and SAF-based decision framework with criteria and weightings aligned to fixed rate's overarching objective, achieving a 15% ROE. Based on the MISI issue tree, 4 strategic options were identified and systematically assessed, weighed, and ranked. The evaluation shows that expansion into the B2B market is the most attractive pathway for a fixed rate to reach the 15% ROE target. At the same time, optimizing operations represents the most realistic and immediately actionable lever to improve profitability in the short term. Although multiple factors influence fixed rate's performance, the company must clearly define its strategic direction and focus on the most promising path to achieve the ROE target and reverse current negative trends. These strategic options are visualized in this decision tree, where the refinement of fixed rights market focus emerges as the strongest route forward, marking a necessary shift beyond the B2C segment and its current service portfolio. This direction will be pursued by implementing the highest scoring option, the B2B market expansion, leveraging the segment's strong growth and favorable characteristics. In parallel, optimizing internal operations will help restore the net profit margin and stabilize fixed rights internal performance, strengthening overall profitability. The two low-scoring alternatives are not recommended due to their limited feasibility and insufficient contribution to the ROE objective. Within these strategic pathways of B2B market expansion and operational optimization, several initiatives can drive execution. These initiatives were assessed and prioritized based on their impact, feasibility, and risk. Employee training, workload forecasting, tailored B2B services, and performance-based contracts emerge as the strongest levers. Their mutual reinforcement, which will be detailed later, further increases their attractiveness. Together, these high-scoring initiatives form the core of fixed rights strategy to restore profitability and achieve the 15% ROE target by 2027.
So here we're going to focus on a B2B repair as our primary growth engine. So the B2B repairs are way bigger than B2C, 9.3% versus 2.3% in terms of growth. On top of that, average B2B ticket is also way bigger than B2C. It has also bigger margins, so essentially contributes to our ROE. The pilot has already proven feasibility with relatively short payback times. It also helps to stabilize our technician utilization and demand. So B2B has a really good potential to be a serious growth engine. So the second pillar is optimizing operations. So technician utilization has dropped from 92% to 76%, and average repair times has increased as well. So this drives margin compression and higher turnover. So the focus now is on better scheduling, forecasting, standardized process, and employee training. So this all initiatives can help improve margin with relatively low investment and fast payback. Importantly, this is not just a housekeeping, but rather a training and process discipline that will help with complex B2B contracts. So operations optimization directly enables B2B growth. So concluding all of this together, we recommend Fixed Right to prioritize B2B market expansion as the primary growth strategy, followed and supported by the operations program. So strategically, B2B gives us a growth and efficiency. Contract-based demand fills the idle capacity and spreads fixed costs and lifts margins, while optimizing operation then acts as execution engine. Training, standardization, and better planning ensures that we can actually deliver what we promise to B2B clients. So compared to refurbished devices or immediate international expansion, this combo scores the highest on impact and feasibility with relatively manageable risk, as reflected in the previously showed weighted scoring. So the recommendation is B2B, not B2B or operations, but more likely interlinked grow B2B and use operations to make growth profitable and reliable. So how does this recommended strategy solve Fixed Right core problem? So firstly, it closes the profitability and ROE gap. So higher value B2B tickets are roughly 1/3 higher margins than B2C. So combined with the higher utilization, we can actually create realistic paths towards 15% ROE target by 2027. Second, it rebalances exposure away from stagnating B2C market into fastly growing 9.3% B2B segment. Third, contract-based B2B work together with our optimization levers, scheduling, capacity, planning, process standardization, and training restores operational efficiency and not just revenue and growth. So how does this focus on our value creation and alignment? So the B2B plus operations model strongly fixed right, eco-friendly, right to repair positioning, as well as the new EU directive of extending device life through professional repairs. Operationally, our targets are to lift utilization, reduce repair time, and bring employee turnover down. This should improve our net margins. At the same time, we are building exactly the capabilities needed later for either international expansion or more advanced tailored services, SLA management, key account handling, or multi-site capacity planning. So this strategy delivers the highest return to risk profile of the options we currently have assessed.
The implementation plan for Fixrite is divided into 3 distinct phases. In phase 1, which lasts 1 year, we're looking at entering the B2B market. So in the first months, we validate the B2B market entry and assess the current operational capacity. The next 2 months are about optimizing operations through restoring the technician utility rate, lowering the average repair time, and through standardizing processes for smarter planning and capacity balance. The following months include the full implementation of the B2B setup, including the initial investment of €242,000 and recruiting a specialized sales team for acquiring business contracts. The second phase of the implementation plan is about scaling up the B2B operations. In the second year of the implementation, the acquisition cycle should be shortened from 6 to 12 months to a maximum of 3 months. Fixrite should gain full B2B market penetration through repeated contracts and create a stabilized demand to optimize utilization. In the next year, the focus should be on internal stability. In the third and last phase of the implementation, strategic maturity is the main focus. Service delivery should be standardized, pricing will be refined, and the goal of 15% return on equity will be achieved. At the same time, the net profit margin needs to stay above 9%. After the implementation of this new strategy, Fixrite should be doing great in the B2B segment and see some growth in their revenue streams.
Strategy and implementation have been discussed. This slide highlights the financial summary of our recommendation and strategy. By expanding into B2B and increasing our operations, Fixrite moves towards the 15% return on equity set by investors. Operational efficiency is restored, with technician utilization increasing to almost 85% and the average repair time falling below 2.2 hours, reducing idle time and strengthening our profitability. As B2B becomes the primary revenue driver, Fixrite gains a more stable and higher margin business model. And importantly, the strategy only requires a €242,000 investment with a payback period between 18 and 22 months. Overall, the numbers show that our strategy is financially solid and delivers a sustainable value to Fixrite.
There are several risks that come with moving to the B2B segment. The first one is a difficulty in gaining B2B clients. B2B buyers typically require longer sales cycles and proof of past performance before committing to a service provider. This risk can be mitigated by conducting partner pre-qualification, offering case-based pricing with transparent SLAs to reduce switching costs, and establishing pilot programs to build reference cases. Next is the operational strain on repair centers. Increasing the workload without capacity planning risks delays, quality issues, and technician burnout. This can be prevented by implementing phased hiring and expanding the technician training. The expected outcomes from this diversification into the B2B segments are as follows. The return on equity should be above 15% by 2027, so Fixrite can achieve the required ROE set by investors. The technician utility rate should be over 85% by 2027, which makes sure there is less idle time, and this is directly linked with operational efficiency and profitability. The net profit margin should be 9% or higher by 2027. This is crucial for closing the performance gap and reaching the ROE goal. The average repair time should be under 2.2 hours by 2027. This decreases operational pressure on employees and increases turnover. Lastly, the employee turnover should be lower than 12% by 2027. This decreases internal pressures and keeps the base of knowledgeable technicians. Fixrite is at a critical strategic point. While the full implementation of the EU Right to Repair Directive is approaching in 2026, and the OEMs are expanding on their integrated networks. The current stagnating growth and diminishing margins are not feasible and create a performance gap in relation to the 15% ROE requirement by 2027 of the investors. Fixrite should redefine their business model to create sustainable, scalable growth. This requires a focus on operational excellence, to repair margins and create an efficient base, and on market and service differentiation to find new growth. Fixrite is positioned to strategically expand into the B2B repair sector with a strong financial upside. The strategy works like a lever. By restoring internal efficiency, Fixed-Right can utilize the higher margins and stability of the B2B segment to achieve the goal of 15% ROE.